Welcome back to the Boomerang Podcast. I'm Matt.
And Bill.
Roving reporter Bill. And today we wanted to talk about the event that we were at last weekend with Michelle Swinick. And we have some great footage from that. Really a great get-together. It was kind of a bourbon, cigar, hors d'oeuvres, very fancy stuff. So again, thank you to Corin and Michelle for putting that together. That was wonderful.
Amazing spread. And of course, paid for by
Midas Gold Group.
There you go.
So we sponsored that.
Thanks for sponsoring it.
It's important, because, just to say real quick, we're a gold company. We sell gold and silver, right? We do gold IRAs, right? You probably hear a lot about this stuff on conservative stations, but, I like to think that we're actively in the fight too. We're very much patriots here at this company. And I know I can speak on behalf of James here, who's the owner of Midas, is these are very important causes to us. This is bigger than money. This is bigger than anything. This is about getting the country back, right? And gold and silver is a way to protect your money as we do that, right? Because I think, banks are probably going to be going down. They already have, right? Look at 2023, a string of banks going down.
BRICS is going to push it off the edge,
What's happening with BRICS is very simple, is all these countries, they're moving to the Chinese yuan, which is a gold-backed currency. All these countries have been sitting on U.S. dollars, right, as their country's reserve currency. Well, those dollars don't just disappear. They're going to flow back to the United States. And that's what I think when Trump said hyperinflation is going to kill the economy. Yep. I think that's what he meant by it, is all these dollars coming back here, saturating the money supply, and boom, your money becomes, worth next to nothing. So that's why it's very important at this time to convert your money to gold and silver. And you can obviously give me a call anytime. I answer all my own phone calls. Text Boomerang to 232425. And you can chat directly with me. But let's get into the party. We had a great time. You got some excellent footage. We had a blast.
Ohio Brett was there.
I did some singing, some karaoke. I hope you don't have that footage.
I do? I'm not sure if we want to include that.
I don't think we want to put that up. That's after a few too many bourbons.
But we had an amazing time. Michelle's a great speaker. You give her a mic, she can go on for hours. She just has so much information. And the fact is, the information she gives you in the hours that she speaks is literally 1% of the information she has.
Yeah, you have to follow Michelle and really look into her work, because the stuff that she's doing, I think you said it best just now, your quote with Michelle and Mickey. Michelle's got the information, Mickey's got the
evidence,
strategy.
And the strategy. Absolutely.
So these are two, I've some of the most patriotic people I've ever met, because these are the people that are taking the action. They're not looking to just, go to rallies and get-togethers, which are nice, they're fun, it's good to be around like-minded people, but they're sick of it. They just want to take action and come up with solutions. They're not complainers, is the way Michelle put it when she came on the podcast. She's like, yeah, I'll complain about stuff, but I'm going to come up with a solution too. Yep.
And then there was another fellow, Steve. I'm sorry, Steve, I can't remember your last name, but it is actually in the interview. But we have that interview with Steve, so we'll go ahead and show that.
Yeah, let's get to the footage with Steve.
And he's got amazing stuff, the Constitution. You guys just wait.
Check this out.
So here we have which is called a stone force Declaration of Independence. A lot of people look at this and they're like, oh my God, this is, the original Declaration of Independence. And the thing is that Thomas Jefferson, at the time when he penned this, he didn't have time to run over to Kinko's, and get a bunch of copies made. All right. Also, Trumbull's painting of the signing of the Declaration of Independence, it's got Benjamin Franklin with the little teary eye and stuff like that, and you've got everybody there who signed it. Well, if you had 56 men committing treason all at once, you'd have 56 hangings real quick. So what people believe to be the original Declaration of Independence was not even penned until a month later, on August 2nd, 1776. Okay? So what the original Declaration of Independence is called a John Dunlap. And it's more or less I don't know if you can see this. It's basically an overglorified poster. So here's a John Dunlap Declaration of Independence. Okay, so what had happened was that they needed a bunch of these ran off. There's only 26 of them known to exist today, but they went to John Dunlap, who was the official printer in Philadelphia at that time, and he'd put everything in typeset and everything else like that, and ran these copies off. Well, they went and they took these copies and they took them spread them throughout the 13 colonies. And John Hancock wrote a letter saying we are now at war with England. So that was the official Declaration of Independence. Again, these were just meant to be hanging on doors, at churches, things like that. That's how come hardly any of them survive. When it comes to this declaration, okay, not only was it, done a month afterwards, but here we got Thomas McKeon over here. He may not have signed it until 6 years later. So again, this was just done as a souvenir copy signed by the people who the founding fathers who were there. Now, people ask, well, okay, so what is this, and how come it doesn't look like the one at the National Archives in Washington, D.C.? Well, the reason being is because, as you know, one of the stories that has been prevalent, and my good buddy Seth has disproven this, but I'm going to go ahead with this story because it's the one everybody is going to tell, okay? We're coming up on the 50th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. John Quincy Adams, John Adams' son, is Secretary of State. He's worried about the condition of the Declaration of Independence, what it's going to be like. He asked Congress to, if he can make some copies. They okay it. He gets William Stone, who is the greatest engraver in the land at the time. And William Stone uses what's called a wet ink transfer process. Basically, he gives the Declaration of Independence a mild acid bath and puts a copper plate on top of it. The idea being is that the iron gall ink will repel the water. The acid will take the ink and etch the copper plate. Whenever you pull it apart, you have an absolutely perfect copy of the Declaration. They don't know if he did it too late or too early, but when he did, most of the Declaration of Independence came off, and that's how come it's in such bad shape over at the National Archives. But the reason why we have these copies here that are in such excellent shape is because these were created from the plate, because it was an absolutely perfect etching from the plates that William Stone did. So whenever we see these copies of the Declaration of Independence, we know that they are at least a minimum of 50 years older than the United States, I should say 50 years younger, came 50 years after what people believe was the signing of the Declaration of Independence. Okay? Now, how does this all tie together with the artifacts that we have here today? Well, again, whenever we give the tour of the museum, we give it from not just such and such date this happened, but we give it from the financial history of the United States, with it being that this United States was started as literally the Corporation of the United States of America. It was a hostile takeover. Our founding fathers understood that they were standing on the largest swath of wealth in the world, and if they were able to do something simple like overthrow the king who sat on the throne of the empire, of which the sun never set, do something small like that, and they would be the wealthiest people on planet Earth. Much to everybody's surprise, they did it. And so what they did was that they then set up the Corporation of the United States of America, meaning that our Constitution is not a constitution of give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses. Okay, they knew what a constitution or a corporate charter was, because every time they came from England to settle a new colony, that'd be Plymouth Colony or Massachusetts Bay Colony, things like that, they had a charter with the king being the sovereign. Okay. Now, the difference is this charter that we had, that our founding fathers wrote up, okay, this Constitution, all right, the sovereign is not the king, the sovereign is the people, okay? They instituted the government not so that the country can be created because of the government, but they did it as a buffer between the people and them, okay? And so there's a reason why we are less than 5% of the world's population, but we're more than 25% of the world's economy. We have been in business from America's inception, okay? And the thing is that when it comes to America and capitalism, because what is capitalism but the financing of a dream, all right? And so here's America and here's capitalism, and there's countries that align very similar to that, all the way down to socialism, communism, things like that. Two things are going to happen if you have a dream, okay? Either the state's going to own your dream, or you're eventually going to run out of capital, okay? So that's how come so many great things that have come out of America have foreign-sounding last names as their inventors, because we get the very best that the world has to offer. coming from all these countries because, again, we are a corporation of financing dreams. All right. And they get to come here. They get to go into the free market. People get to back it. And we get to, you need to get through here. All right. Sorry. People get to back it. And, that's what the American dream is all about. Well, one of the things that we have here that we're very fortunate to have is Martin Luther King Jr. I Have a Dream speech. Now, this dream started out as a financial speech from the very get-go. And a lot of people think, oh, well, what is that? Are you kidding me? But we got 3 pages here, okay? So this is the first page. The second page is back here. And the third page is right here. So what I invite people to do is to read the first page. The language of it is incredible. And Dr. King talks about how when our founding fathers wrote the Declaration of Independence, when they wrote the Constitution, it was a promissory note that all men were created equal and that they had inalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That Dr. King and his group were there today because they had written the Negro people a bad check, that had come back insufficient funds, but that he refused to believe that the Bank of Opportunity in America was bankrupt. He refused to believe that there were insufficient funds. And so he goes on in this speech like that, using that type of language, all the way, because the thing is for so long, the African-American people were responsible. They literally created the economy, and yet they were not able to participate in the own economy that they created. Okay? So this was Dr. King was reminding us that, in our founding documents, okay, this is for all men. Now, they knew when they wrote this that it wasn't true. But the thing is that, that's all part about the American dream, is that their words knew before they did. They knew that they would write things and see things that they would never come to fruition. They would never see come to fruition. However, it was put out to the future so the future can hold on to that and start their dream.
Okay, and that was the interview with Steve. And I also want to make sure that we get Michelle's speech there because, like you said, I mean, you're getting really 1% of the information. But I think if you can just listen to her for the few short minutes that she spoke, I think it would be really encouraging to people to, find her work, look into what she's doing, because there's a reason we're doing segments on this stuff. There's a reason why we want to bring this out. To us, it's very important. This is the most important information getting out because this is legitimately the way everybody's complaining about how nothing's being done, nothing's happening. It's like, no.
I mean, let's face it, the DOJ is corrupt. This evidence would never get in front of a judge, ever.
Ever.
Ever. If Trump can't get it in front of a judge, Michelle's not going to get it in front of a judge. But it's still there. We still are collecting this, and it's still going to be a preponderance of evidence in the end.
Let's take a look at the footage of Michelle Swinick. Let's roll to that.
So they took that away. So what the court did, the appellate court ruled against and said, no, you have to follow the EPM. The EPM says you don't have to follow the law. Because the law is usually one, the EPM counteracts it, and then the county makes a heyday of a bunch of just crazy shit. Okay? And if you read all these, you'll see it. This is not an opinion. No, this is fact. Okay? So what the appellate court said, you have to follow the EPM. So the EPM says you can, in Carrie's case about the signature verifications, the appellate court, which is one level below Superior Court, one above the Superior Court, they said that you have to follow the EPM. The EPM says, didn't say, the EPM is opposite of the statute. So when the Supreme Court got it, they vacated that section of the appeal that said, you cannot follow the EPM, you must follow the statutes. And that's when Ray Valenzuela, under oath, said, we don't follow the statute. We go first come, first serve, whichever's the first match. So he admitted under oath, Blem and Olson did nothing about it. That's when we went to Carrie Lake and we said, you can get a new trial. It's easy, you just won because the whole election needs to be set aside. She said, my attorneys are brilliant, no thank you. This was in May.
And there you have it. Unbelievable stuff. You can find Michelle Swinick. What's her site?
FaithMyFreedom.com.
Yeah. Is it .com or .?
Or is it .org?
.org. Try both.
Try both.
Yeah, we had a fantastic time. James was there. He loved it. Shout out to Mark Anthony. He's a terrific guy. If anybody wants to follow somebody, real patriot,
child trafficking,
follow his page as well. He's a guy who's in the fight like everybody else in our little group. And it was just a great time, man. I had a lot of fun.
That was a lot of
glad
fun.
to see everybody there.
That was a lot of fun. The karaoke was fun. The speeches were amazing, and the food.
Incredible.
Oh, my God.
Incredible food.
The food was off the chain.
Michelle and Corin, thank you guys again. That was such an amazing event. And thank you again for they gave me a flask with some glasses and it's got Geiger written on it.
Nice.
It's like personally, yeah.
I didn't even catch that.
I didn't catch it when I opened it up. I'm like, oh, thank you very much. And I look at the next thing, I'm like, this thing's awesome. So thank you guys, and we'll see you in the next episode. Take care and God bless.